Okay, good morning. We are going to do a joint presentation, even though we are very separate, but no problem. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity and see how we could contribute. Maybe I would like to start saying a few words about LANDAC, because, well, I'm a professor of international development studies at Utrecht University, but also the chair of the IS Academy on Land Governance. That is a partnership between various institutions in the Netherlands, but also in the south, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who is our main sponsor, but also other academic institutions and other NGOs. Well, not necessary, I think, right now to say who are involved and who are not, but I think important is that we got some funding to do research, and we have several PhD projects at this moment on different topics. For example, a number of projects about the implications of the expansion of oil palm in Indonesia, but also a project on the expansion of soya in South Africa, so it's nice also to make a comparison. We also look into large-scale land acquisitions in Africa. We will have new projects, one in Mozambique, one in Ethiopia. We have also a project on the consequences of dam construction in the context of renewable energy in Vietnam, etc. So we have a number of projects that are being carried out right now, and a wealth of data that we can use. And I think that LANDAC is also one of our objectives is also to link up with other initiatives, and in the context of that, we also collaborate with the World Bank and also with Paul Mathieu from FAO, etc. So we try to, not become an important actor, but at least be well informed to know what's happening in the field of land acquisition.
Okay, I will very quickly try to give now some facts. Conclusions, maybe more the basis under it a bit. So I will focus mostly now on the foreign direct investment in land. A little bit on where is that land taken, what seem to be the drivers, and a lot of it, Annelies already mentioned, actors, concerns, policy responses. Data is a major issue. What is being taken where exactly is very difficult. So a lot is coming through the media, and you've got now some initiatives through a kind of crowd surfing to get information and to verify, because reliability is a big issue. There's a lot of rumors, what's really going on. For example, in this database, they had over 1,200 cases, only 4 are operational, maybe because they were in the media. It's not necessarily because of it was the wrong data. And of the 80 million reported, there are now 17 million really in operation in this database. Mostly biofuel food crops. So these are the countries which they found. This is on the web. Particularly a lot, this is a lot in Mozambique, in the Philippines here, in Ethiopia. And then in the area, in hectares. You also see that coming up, say, a place like Russia. It's not just only Africa, it's all over the world. Where we see the hotspots, where we maybe want to focus the cases, maybe Brazil, also because there's some inclusive attempts for inclusive policy. Another one is Indonesia. It's not even on this map. Well, there's a lot going on there. Mozambique, also it's having a biofuel policy. Ethiopia, Sudan, it's connected. The whole water issue, watersheds are there. And maybe also the whole Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, another area, hotspots. So the data actually, I think it's really the top of the iceberg, because if you already compare what they have in their database verified, what you then get from government statistics, you already see huge differences. And so much is unknown, invisible, it's in drawers. When it's not yet operational, nobody knows necessarily. It's only the day they start, the bulldozers come, people realize something has happened. And there's also the domestic investors who are really below the radar scheme. This is for the Office Unitaire in Mali, where actually they want investors to bring in the infrastructure. Where you see, if you look at the numbers, it's mostly domestic. Of course, in area, then the foreign are much bigger, but it's half at least. In Ethiopia, I saw similar data. So it's a huge diversity of actors if you already look to the private sector. The type of land is taken, of course, is the issue of the narrative of empty land, which is not really true, I would say. There's a lot of colonization, agricultural frontier type of land, which is really the high forests, indigenous people, low population density, high biodiversity value, very important often for water, wetlands, protective areas. There are common lands, the pastoral lands from communities, the forests, which are being used more intensively. There's, of course, farmland that are being in use. They got all displacement. And just a mark about investment companies, actually they want commercial farms which are already out there, which are going bust. They won't go in all these frontier type of things. Drivers, there were all the possible, of course, the commodity prices, the price going up is an important incentive for private sector. And up to the financial crisis, there was also a lot of money looking for ways where to invest, all those hedge funds, which is now maybe much less. So the business, they really expect profits from agriculture. They expect profits from rising land values, and they also think there's much lower risk for investment, where you get back to all the investment regulations. So the drive is also because the public sector, they helped creating those opportunities partly. So it's all the biofuel subsidies, it's all the climate change expectation subsidies, because it's nice to be very technocratic, but it's also about governance and rights that will really happen on the ground. And of course, a lot of very active private sector promotions creating the business climate, which is not necessarily linked to land, but which will have implications for land, insurance, etc. And there is, of course, an interesting new actor, are all these rich, food insecure countries who realized in 2008, when they really needed the food, suddenly you couldn't buy it anymore on the world market. So actually WTO not working at that moment. So they then thought, we need to be more sure to have land. So they also became very active. So they're investing and they use their own embassies, but they also try to protect the reputation. You get all these initiatives at the international level, like Japan, the Gulf states, that you say it's okay that we do this. And then, of course, it's in the country, at the country level. And I would say the host governments plays a key role, because if they don't want it, it's not going to happen. And I found a really interesting change is how they welcome it so much. They really want it to even compete amongst countries. So it's actually more what they were saying at the World Bank, it's actually more a race to the bottom if you look to land valuation prices. So there's partly this belief in FDI as the solution for development, which is maybe all going back to the old policies. And this is big belief in large-scale farming. Not as small the farming is not the solution for them. It's really go for the large-scale farming. And there's a lot of political economy things also around it. So what happens, of course, all the changes in the legal framework which were already out there on investment policy, the biofuel promotion policies, and around land, I mean, they really actively make available land, kind of land banks. So they are the ones expropriating or taking the land for communities. There is a lot of degazetting of protected areas ongoing. So what was there is not longer protected. All the environmental impact assessments are actually becoming token. The regulation is there, but it's just not really there. And I would say it's a completely changing attitude on the stewardship role of the public land. And the easiness of expropriation. Key actors then, so okay, it's really the host government is private sector. I think that is what is driving it. The development partners, in a way, they paved the way in the past through all the investment climate. Maybe embassies are assisting, but now they are the ones who are becoming more sensitive and try to promote studies and the regulation. Of course, within the private sector, I was saying, it's very diverse. You've got really more the investment companies looking to invest money, the more agribusiness, the speculators. If you look at agribusiness, it's becoming more and more complex. You get South African management, Chinese money, Brazilian models. It's not easy. The concerns, I think we spoke a lot about. If you look at natural resources, I would say the valuation of land at the host government level is very low. Even when they select areas, it's not really the value of the land. It's for all kinds of other reasons. Also in the contracts, you see a very low price attached to the land, which has, of course, implications for the way business is farming, because if the land is very cheap, you don't make very efficient use of your water and your soil. It's a very easy conversion of forests and wetlands, because it's almost seen like wasteland. There was nothing there, so it can only become better later on. Key ecosystem services are not protected, what I already said earlier. So there's no realization of that value. It's not really there. There's a lot of concerns about sustainable growth, about inclusiveness, about conflict. Governance challenges, we spoke about yesterday, there's a lot of issues around accountability. The quality of assessing business plan, you can really sell everything, and how to judge. The quality of the contracts, the legislation not being there, all the local rights being denied, and there's no level playing field, and I think that's... Okay, some policy initiatives you now see coming up, some moratoria, there's some centralization of decision making. Is it for quality or is it for more control? The business sector, you've got all the round tables, the CSR, the RAI initiatives. They also try to understand better, also to reduce their risks. There's a lot of CSO mobilization going on, and the media has played an important key role in all this, because why we know so much is the media which was pushing it. And the development part is, well, they try to work on principles, so a lot on the land governance. The whole food security is being also taking on, like, what's going on, what does it mean for food security? The responsible business, also going back to everything around multinationals, also subsidy schemes, and the whole rights and governance issues. And then at the country level, it's about capacity building. It's all the talk about business models involving smallholders. Is that possible or not? How to secure rights of smallholders that have a better stand. And how also make much more use of what happened in parallel sectors. Also the contracts, the revenues, the community rights, the labor rights, etc.